All right, everybody, I'm back for a bonus stream, and I haven't done anything really or at all since I ended the stream this afternoon, because I had to run a bunch of errands. So we're back right where we left off, and we're just going to be continuing on with more content. So lots and lots and lots of stuff are... Well, there's lots of ideas that are out in the open for me to work on. So yeah, we'll just kind of figure out what to do. I don't really have actually a good idea for what to do, but we'll figure that out. Maybe we'll just draw some new items. I'm kind of, I don't know, I think I'm kind of in like an artsy mood right now, so maybe we'll do some items or something. But yeah, we'll have to take a look at what we have in the backlog and do that. But anyway, hello, Clickertail. Welcome back. Johan, good to see you. Dan W, hello. Welcome to the stream. Hoping some of your productivity rubs off on me. Sometimes it is easier to get to work if there's somebody also working in your presence, you know what I mean? Sometimes that helps. All right, what are we feeling like working on? What do we feel like working on? Anyone have any ideas? I'm also going to go ahead and read the Discord suggestions channel. Also, we'll skip the ads for today for this stream, but everything's linked in the description below for all the ways you could support the game. The Steam page is linked, all that good stuff. So, okay. We do want to make critical bonuses. We do want to make critical bonuses apply to buffs as well. So maybe that might be a good thing to work on, actually. I'm just reading the Discord on my phone. Reading the Discord channel with the suggestions on it. I guess I should have prepared before I do this, but... Spider Matriarch is one that I what am I even saying? Spider Matriarch or like a Brood Mother or something. Grand Cauldron, that's a good one. Absorbs all of their items. Oh, we could do some corrupted abilities too. That would be a good one. Oh, I guess I should have planned this better. Sorry, we're going to spend the first chunk of the stream deciding what to work on. I do like the idea of overriding tags. Shapeshifter. Reduce cooldown by seconds per tag. Yeah. I would like to do, maybe we'll try that. We'll take a stab at the Shapeshifter. I think this one is a good idea. The problem though is I don't really know how I'm going to draw a Shapeshifter. Let me do some quick Googling. Let's just take a look at what we have for ideas for shapeshifting, and it's exactly what I expected. People turning into creatures. Animorphs. I kind of want to do something that's a little bit more... I mean, maybe something like this would be appropriate. Like a Wendigo looking thing. Although, maybe I should do a Wendigo card itself. Oh, I should do that. I should do that. I gotta just sit down and brainstorm all these like mythological folk creatures. And just do a whole bunch of those. A shapeshifter. I kind of have an idea for what I want to do for a shapeshifter. Kind of make it look like a demon creature kind of thing. Yeah, I think I have an idea of how I want to approach it. So let's see, what would be appropriate for the shape of the shapeshifter. It's going to be really hard to make use of some of these weirder shapes. I'm going to have to get very creative with those. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this shape, and we're going to see if this ends up working or not. Shapeshifter create. Load default palette. So I'm thinking, I can't believe you've done this. Every time I say, so what I was thinking, I just think of, I can't believe you've done this. I want to do something with like, I don't know, maybe I want to do like a creature that's kind of like hanging from this way. Just kind of like a very unsettling. Hanging from the top. I actually don't know. Let's see. And then we're just going to get the arms in place first. Some like nice gangly fingers. This is going to have to come over more. This thinner. Do I want to do like... This may not end up turning out that good, but we'll try it out. We'll make this a little bit thinner here. Try to make it look creepy. Try to give it a creepy vibe. Maybe we move this that way more. So we're just doing a very, very rough, like block out kind of like where the different pieces can be. This part looks weird. I think it needs to go up earlier. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. How about a huge card that does something to things that are adjacent, like super hard to even fit things around it, but very rewarding if you do? Yeah, so we could do like another 3x3 card. I think I have an idea for a 3x3. I want to do a ziggurat. Ziggurat. Yeah, I want to do like a ziggurat like this, right? Make that a 3x3 item, and actually probably with this perspective would be fine. With the giant stairs going up. Make it like a little scene, like make it a grand building or whatever. And then if it's a 3x3, we could give it some kind of like adjacency bonus like you're talking about, Johan. I think that would be really cool. Just like a giant 3x3 ziggurat that just has like some massive adjacency bonuses. I think that would be cool. For sure. I gotta be honest with you, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but let's tighten up the arms a little bit. Obviously, this is not super great yet. Just trying to get like an idea of what I maybe want to do. You know what I think? Maybe I'm just gonna redo this section here, I think. Because I think what I want to do is something more like that. I'm just making up my own creature at this point. So something like this. Almost kind of like, I'm sure many of you have seen Spirited Away. You know, like the spirit things. Maybe I'll just do that. Maybe I'll just straight up lift that design. We could do like, we can make this part like a mask instead. Right? Right? Obviously it's gonna need more touch-ups, but something like that, just super creepy. This guy becomes just like a shadow creature kind of thing with these long, gangly arms. We'll clean up the hands and whatnot as well. This is a little bit boring up here, so let's get rid of that and let's just try to add a little bit more flair to this, I think. Yeah, it's not quite that interesting enough up here. We want to give it like a lot of motion, I think. Give it a lot of motion. Apologies, Hideo Kojima, or whoever is the director of Studio Ghibli. Miyazaki, right? I'm sorry I'm lifting your character design a little bit, but it's an homage. It's an Easter egg. It's, you know? Why is this not working? Let's see. This is just... Let's see. That looks better. Maybe this needs to come over more now. We could give it like a hump too. Ooh, gross. Okay. Yeah, we could do that. Big ol' humpalumpagus. Okay, this may work. Yeah, this might work. Ooh, that's already creepy. That's already creepy. So the hands need work. I mean, these are just like super scrawled. I need to refine those a little bit. I think the hands would be a good opportunity to like make... So if this guy is going to be mostly like the dark colors, the dark cool colors, I think it would be probably good to make these fingers basically just like long claws, you know what I mean? And then fill in like the warmer colors for that. You know, something like this. And just like repeat that a couple of times. That'll probably work. Okay. So I think I'm good with the shape here. I just need to work on the arms and such. Actually, this hand is almost good. That arm shape is pretty good, I would say. Maybe we just... Oh yeah, that arm shape is good. So we really just need to focus on like what does the thing at the end of the arm look like. What I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to create a little separation there so I can see like what's different about the hand. And then we can maybe... Ooh. Yeah. Let me just try. We'll just make these all like talons there. And then we can do something like this. Problem is that doesn't... I don't know if that looks that great, but I don't know. I guess I can work with it a little bit. I think what probably needs to happen actually is I probably need to create some separation, some darker separation there. That probably just needs to be pure white. Although the white, yeah, the white shouldn't be on that side. Let's do, oops. Okay, that may work for now. Yeah. Well, we'll roll with that for now. Let's go to the other hand here. Actually, I don't really like this whole arm thing either, so let's get rid of that. We can probably make this come, like if we do this, we make like a little impression of an arm coming out that way. Actually, maybe it should go down a little bit. Oh, but then it's not going to have a whole lot of room. And I don't have room to really put it here either. So maybe it's okay to put it that way. And if we make it coming down like in this direction here. Maybe not. I don't think I like that. I think we'll just assume or imply that the arm is coming down through the body or behind the body and then out in front this way. Yeah, we'll do that, and then we just need to make the claws here. That does not look correct. I wanted to fill in more of this space down here, actually. Hello, Pacheco Dev. Are we doing boots? Boots? Oh, boots would be a good one. I love mass monsters. Have a tattoo of no face from Spirited Away. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I love Spirited Away. No long claws. Let's go for a shadow style creature. No, I mean, I don't want to copy it exactly. I think the claws will work fine. But we'll see. We'll see. Hello, Flame Stomach. I have some questions. Hello, Courier Games. Do you do CI/CD with your games? And what is the game feedback forum on your Discord? Yes, I do have CI/CD. Actually, there's a GitHub action that I wrote myself, specifically for exporting Godot games. It's here. Godot export. This is what I use for my game builds. And it's basically just a JavaScript GitHub action that basically just exports the game in headless mode, but it's got all these options here. Some of the community has contributed to it as well, so I'm not going to take credit for literally all of it, but I created this originally for myself to use, and then I mean, it was open source from the beginning, but people have been doing pull requests and stuff against it. So yeah, this is what I use in my workflow. With C#, it's a little bit, there's an extra step for C# stuff, like you have to build the C# project first. Otherwise, like your export variables get all messed up. So, I mean, I can show you, I don't think there's nothing sensitive in this repository, so I can actually show you the workflows. GitHub workflows. So I have this build game workflow. Export job. So there's some stuff happening in here. First of all, I set up .NET version 9.x, and then I build the project before I do any exporting. I also overwrite the version field of the project settings because that gets pulled into the main menu to show which version you're on. So it's actually doing So it's checking out all the files, but then it's changing this one property of the project Godot to whatever version is equal to the tag. So basically, whenever I push a tag that's like v1.0.3 or whatever, any ref that matches that pattern will kick off a workflow, and that will be treated as the version, the v, major minor patch. And then I run that export action that I just showed you, provide the download links for the release templates as well as the Linux version, because we're running this in Ubuntu. And basically, I've got presets to export here. That's coming from, like, my workflows are segmented out a little bit because I have 3 different versions of the game that I build. So some of those inputs are coming from these other workflow definitions. And yeah, basically I just deploy to Steam after that. So build the game, copy the builds into the workspace, deploy to Steam with the various configurations that I need. And then I have a create release action that also puts the binaries in a GitHub release as well. And then the difference between these things is just basically which Steam app ID it is, and also like what the depot numbers are. And then also which presets I'm going to export, and also which depots they need to go to on Steam. So one of these will be triggered on tag push, depending on which one matches. And then it goes into this main workflow here. So yeah, that's what my CI/CD looks like. I think that's it, basically. So exactly what I was looking for. I was going to write that from scratch. Yeah, for sure. I think it works really well. The only thing to call out is what I just said, which is that if you're using .NET, you probably want to just set up .NET and then build your game first before you attempt to export. Because sometimes it's flaky. Like sometimes you can export a C# game in headless mode and it will work fine. But other times I've noticed that, like, for some reason, it loses like whatever export variables you've set. Because like if Godot opens before the C# is built, then it doesn't know like what export variables are there, right? And so that can break sometimes. So I just make sure to build it first so that all of the editor scripts and tool scripts and whatnot are built, all the export properties are there. And so then when Godot goes and runs to actually do the headless export, like everything's already been pre-built, so nothing like that gets messed up. But yeah, I highly recommend doing this. It's a little bit of a pain to set up. It's not super painful anymore because you could just sick the AI on it and create the workflow from that. But once you have it running, it like gives you a lot of peace of mind, because then you just deploy and you don't have to worry about messing up a manual step. You don't have to worry about misconfiguring something. Like once it's all correct, pushing out a new build is like, very, very easy. Thank you, Sir Flamestomach. You're welcome. Hello, Dusty. There we go again. Welcome. Good to see you. Semver, there's some real software engineering. I try to be as clean as possible, but, I use GDScript because I'm not a nerd. Honestly, not to out myself, but until recently I was just testing by playing. Yeah, I mean, that's fine, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What was I doing? Oh yeah, we got to do this guy. Almost forgot what we were even here for. Now you're making me second guess if I should put claws on this guy. Hello, V. Welcome back. Always good to see you. think this one should maybe curl in more. This one actually probably should be... Man, why is this so hard? I guess that's fine. We'll just keep it like that. This looks weird now. Put this here. It's probably fine. Okay. I guess it's fine if this guy has a little nose. That's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Why not? Did you celebrate the fireworks? I did. Actually, my neighbors every year put on quite a fireworks show that I can see from my office, so I usually just sit here. I mean, I was working, but when they would shoot off their next round of fireworks, I would look out and watch it. Had a good laugh at Flame Stomach, yeah. Laugh it up. Laugh it. Keep laughing. Just wait until I bring out the band hammer. Oh, sorry, the game feedback, yeah. No, game feedback is for anyone who wants to ask for feedback on their games. So, like, I want the Firebelly server to not be all about whatever I'm working on. I want you guys to feel comfortable sharing your own projects and asking for feedback on that. So, yes, please feel free to share whatever you're working on. You can share it in game dev. I think the game feedback channel is more for like if you're going to be running like constant updates and you want to have an ongoing discussion about your game. But if you just have like something one-off that you want to showcase from your game, you can post that in the game dev channel. Whatever you want to do is totally fine. But yeah, I want the server to be a space where everyone can feel free to share what they're working on. So yeah, if you've got something to share, Courier Games, by all means, please do so. And if you want to ask people in the community for feedback on a game that you're making, maybe you've got a prototype or something that's ready, you can definitely do that. I'm gonna try. 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 This seems a little off. Blaze Tummy, that's a good one. There's feedback on the game. There's other channels there too. I'm gonna post my game. Yeah, for sure. Please feel free. Thanks for bringing the whole community up. Yeah, for sure. Always fun to see what everyone's working on. Also, you never know when you're gonna learn something new when people are posting their projects. I don't really know how I feel about this. I may just ultimately let's just keep it like that for now, I guess. I'll have to think about that a little bit more. Oops. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. See, now I'm wondering if I should just do that instead of the black. Yeah, maybe that's it. It's getting there. Trying to decide, do I want to do any highlights on this? Let's see. Let's just try. That doesn't look too bad. I definitely need a stronger separation between this and that. I may just go ahead and just do that. Actually, it may be okay to... Yeah, I was trying to make that look like a I was trying to make that look like a mouth behind the mask, but I mean, we could still potentially do that. Just gotta create a proper separation here. I don't think that's gonna work. That might be okay. This whole shading is just messing me up. Oh, it doesn't look quite right either. I guess that looks better. Maybe this whole thing should just be in shadow here. Well, this dude is dope. The claws did work. Okay, good. I'm glad you like the claws. I don't know. I'm still not feeling great about a lot of the shading here, but I'm sure we can fix that up. I'm sure we could fix it up. Do I want to add... Yeah, I think that looks fine. The mask, I'm trying to decide, is the mask shading good, or do I want to use different shading for the mask? Do I want to use... Actually, the red and the green kind of looks good, but what does it look like if I do this? That kind of looks good too. Oops. I always do that. I don't want to go overboard with this, so... Something about this like nose area is feeling not right to me. Well, it's probably all right. Probably overthinking it. There's a lot of cool colors. That's why I kind of wanted to use warm colors for the mask, but I think those are just too strong. The other option would be to do what I said, which is use a mix. So if I do those, and then maybe not red, maybe orange. That looks kind of creepy. Could sprinkle some red ones in. Yeah, maybe it's okay. Like the contrast between cards like Carrot or Pumpkin and Abomination or Shapeshifter, this game has it all. Yeah. I don't know about the mask. I'll come back to that in a second. This game does indeed have it all. Well, I think probably approaching the quit while I'm ahead territory like I usually do. But I just want to see what happens if I add just like a couple of little highlights. Yeah, I'm still not happy with how this whole area looks. I don't like this massive straight line here. Oops. I don't think I like this. Oops. Okay, that looks better. Maybe I could stop there, but I don't know. Just kind of doodling here. Maybe it's all right. We're just doodling. Just doodling on this fine Monday. Okay, that's probably all right. I don't know. I don't know if it's the best thing in the world, but the more interesting part of this item is going to be the abilities anyway. I did a stronger contrast there. Maybe? Light on the mask looks a little weird. Man, the face on this guy, I can see two ways. Either the eyes are up top or the eyes are at the bottom. Interesting. Either this dude is smiling or he has a straight surprised face. I'm not seeing the surprised face. Thank you, Tech. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Was there a previous message, Johan, that got deleted? I don't know what the eyes correction means. How long have I been working on this game? Since March of 2025. The two black dots above the straight black line. Welcome, by the way, Armored, at the bottom. Here and here. Oh, I see. This looks like a little face down here if you just look at this section. I see what you mean. One of my favorite tricks to do in this game is to throw some random red pixels in the dark purple sections. Makes it look almost like those sections are kind of shiny or translucent as well. Ooh, the orange with the red kind of looks cool. But we won't worry about it. Just played a really good indie game yesterday. Easy delivery code, really cool. I'll check it out. I wish YouTube would tell me which messages were censored as I post them. Yeah, I don't know why that's happening. I don't really know why that's an issue. Or I don't really think that's an issue. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know why anything is censored since I try keeping myself PG-13. Yeah, I don't know either. This is a PG chat. Yeah, I don't know. Like, people's messages get censored all the time, and it's like, I don't really know why YouTube is so aggressive about that. I looked several times. I don't think there's any way that I can control it on my end either. So yeah, I'm not really sure why people's messages aren't getting through sometimes. What the heck, man? All right, well, this might be a situation where I just call it good for now. And then maybe when I look at it later, I'll have some inspiration about what to do. I mean, I don't think it's not bad, right? Like, I don't think it's I don't think it's like terrible. It's just, you know, I wish I could get it a little more perfect. Well, whatever. We will we'll just roll with this, I suppose. Do I want to go all in on the shininess? No, I don't think so. I think I'll just keep it green. Okay, we'll see how this works. Did you have a deadline for the game when you started? I'm asking because it feels overwhelming working on a game and I don't know when I'll finish it. I didn't have a deadline when I started, but not like a hard deadline anyway, but I certainly have a deadline now. I think Firebelly is a special case because he's trying to survive off of game dev. Yeah, that's true. Ronaldo lost? I don't know what that means. Welcome, Ghost. But yeah, I have a deadline now. Deadlines are super helpful, especially for managing like complexity and scope, because then if you have to evaluate everything that you want to add to the game against, is this going to put my deadline in jeopardy? Then it becomes a lot easier to make decisions about what's important and what's not. So I would recommend like giving yourself a deadline, even if you're not doing anything too serious, because, and then try to hold yourself to that deadline too. Don't just be like, well, I'd like to keep, no, like make every effort to meet the deadline. And I think you'll be surprised at how much that improves your decision making with respect to deciding what to work on. It's a dance, not a race. Left for 10 minutes and this looks awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Not the best art I've ever done. It's certainly not a succubus level, but I think it's okay. It's good. It'll work. That's it. I think need to think of it on a daily basis instead of start and finish maybe, or more of a routine. Yeah, I think that's part of it too. That's definitely part of it. I think it's always overwhelming to an extent. You know, there are times where I feel a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of work that I have to do with Alchemortis, but it's just, you know, I just do the same thing that I've been doing, which is just tackle the next most important thing step by step, and eventually, after a couple weeks, you'll have a whole mountain of important things done, and you'll have you'll have your game in a state which is much more advanced, right? The hard part is just making decisions about like what is the next most important thing to work on. And that's where deadlines help quite a bit. Okay, I'm just making minor like pixel changes now. Okay, all right, so we have a shapeshifter. This is a 2x2 with an excluded cell of 1, 0. This is a ritual minion. Turn cooldown. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just give it 1 tag because we're going to make it do damage based on the number of tags that it has. Critical chance, let's do 0.1. Critical bonus, let's do 3. I don't need to do any of those things. Okay. So I think I might add a secondary tag called a demon. I should add more demons to the game. And then I'll add a secondary card tag that's demon, and then I'll make some things that scale off of demons. So I think the shapeshifter could be a demon. Obviously the succubus would be a demon. Imp would be a demon. Do I have any other demon items in the game? I don't know. I haven't done like anything with demons really, so I think there's a lot of source material there. There's a lot of things I can do with demons, right? Oh, the Wendigo could be a demon. I just try to avoid any delusions of success and frame this as a hobby entirely. Anytime I start to think about business side, I feel a lot of pressure, so I just try to focus on fun. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. I think that's a good way of doing it. Mothman. Mothman demon. That's more of like a not really Western European thing, isn't it? It's more of like an Americana thing. Yeah. Okay. So we've got the shapeshifter. All right. So now we want to make a deal. Reduce cooldown by 0.3 seconds per tag. Deal 1 damage per tag. So I like the idea of having this do stuff based on the number of tags that it has, but I think in order to make it, I might have to beef this up. So I may not use this exact suggestion here, because I think in order for this to be worth the effort, there has to be some kind of like massive bonus that you get if you put like all the tags on it. So we got to think about that. I mean, I think the cooldown reduction per tag is a good idea. Maybe we'll just give it like some kind of conditional. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. But I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we'll start doing the abilities for this guy. So I'll be right back in just 3 minutes, and we'll continue on. All right, I'm back. What about the Dover Demon? I've never heard of that. I'll have to look it up. Primarily think of it as a hobby, but I do let the viability of it as a viable product guide some decisions. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good way of thinking about it too. I guess it depends on what your goals are, right? Like if you ultimately do want to make some money off of games, then thinking about it a little bit is helpful, but yeah, you definitely don't want to get caught up in like expecting a whole lot out of it, right? Yeah, it is very hard to be successful for sure. People are making mildly successful games and live off of it. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where my impression of it, having seen a couple of people release not so good games and then release games that were really good, is like a lot of it is just there is like the floor. How do I want to say this? The floor for what is required to make a game that has the potential to sell, let's say, tens of thousands of dollars is extremely high, right? So like the minimum bar that you need to clear is really like quite high. Like there's a lot of skills that you need to have. There's a lot of experience that you need to have. And it takes a long time to get to the point where you're like approaching that minimum bar, right? And then the kind of unfortunate thing about it is like that's the minimum bar, right? Like there's all this effort that goes into just meeting that minimum bar of a game that's going to sell a couple thousand copies, right? But then that minimum bar is not enough to like live off of. So then you have this other gap that you need to cross, which is like from minimum bar to like the level where you can actually sustain yourself on the income. And that's a whole bunch of extra work too. So I think that's kind of what's difficult about game dev in particular. But my sense is that once you can consistently create games that cross that like minimum floor, it becomes pretty reliable to expect to earn at least some money from your games. That's kind of the impression that I get. Because like I said, I see people who had like games that weren't that good, and now they're releasing a game, you know, every 6 months or whatever that does pretty well in terms of money. Like they're consistently making money off of every game that they release, and it's because they've figured out how to meet that minimum bar and exceed that minimum bar. But getting to that point of exceeding the minimum bar is like a lot of times there's just like years and years of effort before that point, right? So it's a little bit, that's what I'm observing anyway. I don't know how true that is, but I see a lot of indie devs launch great and creative games, but they don't get noticed much. Yeah, see, part of the minimum bar that I was just talking about is like your game could be well made and creative, but part of the minimum bar is like understanding what's going to do well in the market, selling an intriguing fantasy to the player, having a unique like visual style. Because if your game is well made but it looks like every other game, that maybe is not meeting the minimum bar, right? So it's not just a matter of technical or artistic skill. There's also like a business element to it as well. Maybe you'll do it. Firebelly's going to do it. I hope so. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but we will see. I'm not doing this for no reason, but I like to temper my expectations a little bit and not get too carried away with like the what ifs. Dream gives them good motivation. Those people, I say, embrace the dream. If you filter out the slop in my first game kind of games, you're left with 10 to 20% of the original count. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, I'm not super impressed with these statistics like, oh, 9,000 games released on Steam this year. It's like, that's more a function of like it becoming easier for people to make something that's technically considered a game. But like, I think that the percentage of total releases that are great games that sell well is going to remain constant no matter how how many games in absolute terms are being released, right? So we could just say, like, let's say 10,000 games are released on Steam in 1 year. Maybe I'm just pulling numbers out of thin air, but let's just say like 500 of them could be considered commercial successes, right? Well, if the next year 12,000 games are released on Steam, what does that mean? That means that there's only going to be like, what? I don't know what the ratios. See, I'm bad at math, but there's going to be like, what, 50 to 100 more games that are commercially successful. So you've got 2,000 more games being released, but only 50 to 100 of those are in that commercially successful category, right? So the rate of growth in absolute terms of the non-successful games is going through the roof, and then the rate of growth in absolute terms for the commercially successful games is like a trickle upwards, right? So you're not actually, like, if you're capable of making really good games, you're not actually dealing with like a whole lot more competition year after year. And that's not considering the fact that maybe the percentage of quality games is actually going down, right? Like, it may be that 1 year, 5% of the games released on Steam are commercially successful, and then the next year there's a flood of new games, but only 3% of them are commercially successful, right? Anyway, these are just my ramblings of a madman. Know a lot of talented devs who are starving artists, yeah. Game jams are great. Yeah, I recommend game jams. Hello, Hoxie. To even begin to make a game with a plan to release profit off of it, you must become an Avatar master of the 4 elements. That's a good way of putting it, yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Good game sells. Goated Edmund McMillan. Simply not enough, though. At least I think so. Yeah. Very late one today. Good isn't a solid metrics. Yeah, I mean, good is a little bit amorphous. Like, I think, like I said, you have to make a distinction between a game that's like technically well made, where the art is like good and the programming is good and maybe even the game design is good. But those, when we're talking about a game that is going to sell, I don't think that that covers the entire definition of good, right? Good also includes, is the fantasy you're trying to give the player a good one and an intriguing one? Is your marketing effort good? Is your Steam page good? Does the game even have a market, or is it incredibly niche, right? Those are also factors in the sort of good definition. New genre on Steam, technically a functioning game, yeah. Hello again, Ninja Link. Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome back, I should say. Yeah, good is in market quality, the more compelling to your audience. Yes, I think that's right. It's my game on this. Yeah, please feel free to do so. Anyway, enough rambling, I guess. We're all just trying to figure it out. I don't know. We'll see. I hope to one day be able to impart my knowledge upon you because I'm a hyper successful game developer, but we are not at that stage yet, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Okay. We're doing your ninja, your idea, Ninja Link, by the way. This is the shapeshifter here. I'm going to modify the abilities that you suggested in your suggestion, though, but we are going to make it do scaling off of the tags that are on it. I just think that there has to be a pretty big payoff, and I don't think that what you suggested in the idea, the damage per tag, because that's a very low amount of damage, and it's relatively hard to get tags on items. So I'm thinking like we're gonna create like an actually like really big payoff if you have, let's say, 4 different tags or whatever. I think we might keep the cooldown reduction though. That's actually an easy one, I think. Is it an easy one? It may not be an easy one. So do a new generic value provider. We'll call this tag count provider. Tag count. Let's do var current. What am I doing? Would it be useful to do this? Oh, I need to also do, right. Let's do X and tags is greater than 0. And then we need to do plus enum. Let's do public static int count this secondary card tag. We're going to want to preemptively do this. Okay, so we're going to do get tags.count. Okay, and then we're going to do plus card data provider dot base card dot get secondary tags dot count. Okay. Cool. Oh, why are you doing this to me? I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Oh, wait. Wait, do I hate this? I never considered that I could wrap this in a dynamic magnitude ability. Oh. Oh, we invented some new technology. Yep, we invented some new technology. Var const int base cooldown modification per tag is equal to 0.3, or no. What am I even doing? -3. We might actually want to set this up. Well, let's do 48, and then let's change this to 2. Do I want to change that to 2? Maybe 3. Maybe -3 is fine. Okay, then value scaler. Set multiplier to what? Current cooldown modification per tag. Dynamic magnitude ability, tag count provider. I never considered that I could do this because this is a magnitude ability, so I could wrap it in a dynamic magnitude ability and that will set, oh man, why did I never think of that? I did so many workarounds to like pass a variable value into this self turn cooldown modification, but I never thought to use a dynamic magnitude ability. I can't believe that. Scaling func. Mm. All right. This needs to be a new non-combat. When are the tags usually applied? That's early. Okay. So we should be okay. Reduce cooldown by description utils.time format 0 per tag on this item. Current. We need to make this mathf.apps. mathf.apps. The absolute value. Okay. Will that work? Will that work? The quality guru. You have imparted more knowledge upon me than anyone else. That's good. Wouldn't even started game dev without your Udemy course. Oh, I appreciate that. I'm glad it helped you out. It's not really that hard to get tags if you're trying to. What are we making anyway? So we're doing the shapeshifter and just doing your suggested ability, the reduce cooldown by 0.3 seconds per tag. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's right. I think I implemented that exact number. But in terms of like the payoff for having a lot of tags, I'm going to think about that a little bit more. I think I'm going to change that one. Why use C# instead of GDScript? Is it preference? Yeah. Preference. I mean, Alchemortis has a lot of complex systems, and I just think it's easier to structure complex systems in C# compared to GDScript. That may change in the future when GDScript adds like traits and stuff, but also one of the problems that probably will prevent me from using GDScript in the future for my future games is that I've already built up a ton of tooling for C# specifically. So yeah, I just probably would just stick with that. Hello, Emerson. Welcome. All right, let's see what happens. Shapeshifter. Reduce cooldown by... Oh, that's not right. That's not even close to right. Oh, did I not put the... Wait a minute. Huh? Oh, this needs to be the value scaler. My bad. That's why it wasn't working. It was counting the one tag and increasing the cooldown by 0.1 seconds. That's why it wasn't working. Why did this... Oh, this needs to be description utils.magnitude to seconds. And then this also needs to say seconds. All right. Build. Build the translations. Okay. So this has one tag. So if I put the acolyte in here, and put that tag on him, he should have 4.2 seconds now. Look at that. Oh, I have the cultist. Oh, but that adds the minion tag. Anyway, that works. So now we just need to think of like what ability it can have. Oh, I need to make that innate too, right? Actually, I feel like it would be more appropriate to make whatever ability we make next the innate one. So let's do this. Initial work. Initial work on shapeshifter. This needs to have flavor text. Oh, right, I forgot about that suggestion. Yeah. So the only thing I'm not going to do of your suggestion here is this 1 damage per tag. I want to do something a little bit more interesting. Let me think. How many ability slots does this have? Is it 3? Right now, is the playtest only available to Patreon? There is no playtest right now. There is no active playtest at the moment. Oh, it has 4 ability slots. Okay. Okay. I'm thinking, let me think. Give it some kind of really good ability if it's got like 4 tags on it. Trying to think, do we want to do some kind of like paralysis? We could do absorb. We are not using absorb abilities that much. Maybe what we could do, ooh, how about this? If this item has 4 or more tags on it, it exhausts a random enemy item on combat start and absorbs all of its abilities for that combat. That should be possible, but I am not sure. Because then it fits into the shapeshifter theme very well. It'll just like copy just straight up all the abilities of an enemy item, in addition to whatever abilities it has on itself, right? So they wouldn't be replacement, they would be additional absorbed abilities. But those abilities, I'm thinking, would fall off. Those abilities would fall off after combat. So every combat it exhausts an enemy. Yeah, we could do that. That is going to be a little bit tricky to implement though, but let's see. In your courses, do you use C#? I only use down Unity and would love some revision. There is one course that I have that's a C# course. Now that you're doing crit values, you can increase that per tag. Oh yeah, we could do that as well. So let me take a note here. So let's do also. I really like the crit change. I'm already very happy with it, and I'm already able to create a lot more interesting crit bonus based abilities. So I need to fill those out more for sure. But add crit bonus per tag. And then the other one we want to do is what? If 4 or more tags exhaust an enemy item on combat start and absorb its abilities. Now here's the problem with that. is that if I do it on combat start, so the thing that I'm worried about is it could absorb passive abilities. How does the mimic work? Yeah, the mimic has the same problem. So if the mimic absorbs... If the mimic absorbs abilities, and one of those is a passive ability, it doesn't update. It doesn't update the passives. So... how would I handle that? Yeah, so this is going to be weird. If the mimic ends up absorbing passives, it's not, those passives are not going to take effect because there's no update triggered for passive abilities that are added. Well, I can just implement it basically the way that I've implemented it in the mimic here. And I can just work on the passive situation later. Trying to think if there's another way I can do this. Well, I don't have to worry about it now. Make it real nasty if you invest in it, yeah. Shapeshifter is going to be so hard to use here. Could it remove tags from the enemy? It could. Attaching tags in the game is kind of rare. It kind of is, but it's not too difficult. Move a random tag from a random enemy each turn. That could work. No, ability absorption does not count against your used ability slots. Copies the top ability from the largest enemy item. Why not make it absorb only non-passive? Well, I could do that, and that would be an easy fix, but I don't want to do that because I want, like, I'm trying not to put like artificial restrictions on things just for technical reasons. Like, if I want the system to just like work with however you expect it to work, right? So if I absorb a passive ability, first of all, if I absorb abilities, I want it to mean like just abilities generally, whether they're passive or active, you know, combat or non-combat abilities. And I want that to work because that could create some surprising situations, right? Like it could absorb a passive ability that somehow gives you like an extra synergy bonus that you weren't expecting. And then you like blow up the enemy and you're like, wait a minute, how did that happen? You know? So yeah, I think that's something that I want to support. It's not currently supported. I have this to do here, which made a note of that. But I may have to spend some time maybe off stream thinking about that. All right, give me a quick 3-minute break. And when I come back, we'll attempt to implement this. So BRB. All right, I'm back. All right, let's see what we can do. All right, so the mimic here, we're probably just going to copy this. But we need to also exhaust. Oh, this is a passive ability. Okay. Okay. This is going to be quite a doozy of an ability, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So we're going to create a query target provider. This is going to we're going to do query target board equals true. Query source board is equal to false. We're going to do options.limit is equal to 1. Options.query directions is equal to board inventory component query directions dot entire board, and then we're going to do options dot order by random is equal to true. Okay, let's put that in there before we forget. Okay, so now we need to do conditional ability decorator. So let's just copy this. I'm probably not going to use a lot of this, but let's just see what happens. Okay. So if we don't have any cache targets, we're just going to return. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to do var random enemy is equal to query target provider dot get cache targets 0. And actually, we could just do var targets get cached targets. This becomes if targets dot length. This just becomes targets 0. Okay. Actually, maybe I shouldn't do that. I should assume that there could be multiple targets in here, I think. Yeah, because we have this query limit enchant, which increases the target limits. So I can't make assumptions about the number of targets coming back. So we need to do a loop in here. And actually, we don't even need to do that. Okay, anyway, var enemy is equal to, well, we don't need to do that either. I'm all jumbled up. We need to figure out a way of exhausting the enemies as well. Well, one step at a time. abilities is equal to target.getBase composed abilities. Okay. I just had an idea. Give bosses a random legendary ability. That might add some variation. So I'm going to do multiple like boss cards for the enemy, but also if I create a random legendary ability every time you enter a boss fight for that boss, that could add a little bit more variety as well. I think that'd be cool. Anyway, I do need to make more legendary abilities too. That's got to be part of my content effort. But let's just do this. Mimic currently has an issue where it can absorb innate abilities and stuff, so we're not going to do that. So we just filtered that out. And then same in here, we need to do the same thing. .toList. Okay. Okay. So now we need to figure out how to exhaust this. Maybe execute abilities. This is a non-combat ability. Oh. Generic combat start listener. How is this even working? On combat started. Should execute ability. On combat started. Where is this called? Execution context. Why? Okay. All right. Well, I think I can do shoot. Let's see, exhaust applicator. Initial base magnitude 1. Magnitude. New exhausted debuff. Okay. Context dot add add card to rerun execution list. Is this what I want to do? Rerun execution context. Abilities to execute filter. Okay. Base card is equal to... Do I need a card data provider now? Oh no. Generic comments. Base card is equal to context.base card. Abilities to execute filter is equal to ability. Abilities equal to exhaust applicator. Oh, it takes a card. Oh, it takes a card and an ability. Include non-combat abilities is equal to true. Actually, I don't know if that's going to work. Really, I don't have... Okay, let's just do... Because I'm worried that this exhaust applicator is going to be firing outside of combat, but maybe not. I really don't know. I really don't know. Because I need to put the exhaust applicator in this list. Anyway. And then in reset state, what we need to do is we need to... Why is this so difficult? So in my reset state, I essentially need a reference to the card that this ability is on so I can clear the absorbed abilities. Which makes me think I may need to store. Okay, well, we'll worry about clearing these later. Let's just figure out how to make this work, or see if this even works at all. Okay. I don't care about the description right now. Ability, shape shifter, absorb abilities, enemy abilities. All right, let's just see if this much works. And let's go to the training dummy. Let's do ability builder dot bleed 1 ability builder dot holy 1. I have no idea if this is going to work. Probably not, but we'll see. This ability is definitely stretching what my system is capable of, and I still need to actually fix some parts of it. All right, shapeshifter, here we go. And I didn't add the ability to the thing. Also, this needs to account for 4 tags. I need to reset absorbed abilities after combat. Store list. Don't clear absorbed abilities that were not absorbed by this ability. Okay, all right, well, I need to put this in here now. Absorb enemy abilities. Build. Wonder if it would be work making the target item have at least 1 tag that is on the shapeshifter. Worth. Oh, I see, worth. Maybe. That would be relatively easy to add, assuming everything else works. All right, shapeshifter. Here we go. It already has exhausted that one. But it did absorb the abilities. Okay, so the problem is exactly what I expected, which is that it exhausted the thing immediately. Now, is that actually a problem? Yes, it is, because we shouldn't be doing exhausts in the non-combat. So this exhaust applicator, I think I may need to wrap this in a different, like another composed ability, if I'm not mistaken. Ability configuration, that's fine. We've got the exhaust applicator here. That can read the query target provider in this scope, that's fine. We're just gonna call this internal here. We just have null here, description translation key null here. We don't care about that. This just becomes exhaust applicator. All right, this needs to be just exhaust here. And then we put exhaust there. So I wonder if that will work now. Because the way I think it works is that it will not execute any nested combat abilities, if I'm not mistaken. So the system is weird in that, like, well, I don't know. Let's see. Come on, shapeshifter. Also, is this going to absorb abilities when it's not in the combat board? I don't think it will. Hopefully it doesn't. Nope, it's still exhausting. Okay, so I'm going to need a different way of gating that then. So that was just a dud. I don't want to do that. So we don't need that whole separation there. We're probably going to need some kind of conditional like var is combat started. So is combat started equals false. On combat start, we're going to say is combat started equals true. We are going to do a conditional exhaust is equal to new conditional ability decorator. Comes exhaust applicator. Conditional ability decorator, this is going to decorate the exhaust applicator. The condition is combat started. We put the conditional exhaust there first. And then in this reset state, we want to do is combat started equals false. Okay. Let's see if that works. So we're just going one step at a time. The good news is that the exhaust does work from the passive ability. So I suppose I didn't really need to make this a passive ability now that I think about it. Actually, what is the mimic? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess it makes sense. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, it absorbed the abilities and exhausted the trading dummy. Cool. Okay, next step. We need to clear all the absorbed abilities when combat ends. Now, the tricky part is I can't just go over all of the abilities on the card and say, if this ability is absorbed, remove it. Because let's say I have a situation where I put the innate ability from the Mimic. Actually, is that ability innate on the Mimic? It's not. Why is this not innate? Okay. So let's say that I, through the legendary reagent, I get the innate ability on the shapeshifter from the Mimic. Any Mimic absorbed abilities need to persist until the next combat, where the shapeshifter's on the top of the board. Whereas any abilities that are absorbed by this ability in particular are the ones that need to be cleared. So I actually need to store a list of absorbed abilities. Base composed ability. I need to store a list. And then in here, we're going to say absorbed abilities dot add absorbed ability, like that. And then on reset, the problem in this reset state is that it's not passing a card reference, which is kind of unfortunate. Why is it not passing a card reference? And would it be easy enough to do that? Maybe I'll just do it the easy way. We'll just do a card data provider. It's fine, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, we'll put the card data provider here. Okay, so we've got our conditional exhaust, our combat start listener. So in reset state, we're going to say card data provider dot base card dot remove composed abilities predicate x absorbed abilities dot contains x, and then we're going to do absorbed abilities dot clear. Now this is going to need to trigger board updates, but I think this to-do is done. I'm stretching my ability system here, but by golly, it's working. So we do that, we absorb the one bleed and the one holy. And then when we auto-resolve the combat, those did not go away. That's cool. That's really cool. I love that. That's awesome. That's cool. That's great. Awesome. Cool. Good job. Why did that not work? Oh, I never actually put the reset state here. I never actually put it in the ability list. That would make sense. Okay, so that means that the combat flag was not being reset either. Okay, this should work, hopefully. Hopefully this should work. We'll see. Okay, so we've got the absorbed abilities. We're in combat. Boom. And those absorbed abilities have fallen off. And now if I go into the next combat, it should re-exhaust something. There we go. Why is it always choosing the first guy, though? That's a little bit concerning. Also, what happens if I die? That's a good question. I think it will still work. It'll just choose a different one. There we go. Okay. So we're getting there. So the next big piece to consider is we need to make it so that if there's 4 or more tags. So that means that we need to put... Can we just wrap the combat start listener in a... How does that work? Can I wrap the combat start listener in a... Oh, I can. I can just wrap that in a conditional ability. Excellent. So what I can do here is I've got this combat start listener. So we could do conditional combat start equal to new conditional ability decorator. We've got the combat start listener. The condition here is going to be card data provider dot base card dot get tags dot count is greater than or equal to const int target tag count is equal to 4. So target tag count there. And then instead of doing combat listener here, I do conditional combat start listener. So now what we should see is that this ability just won't work because I won't have enough tags on it. And yep, it did not go. Okay, let me just test this really quick. I'm just gonna temporarily throw all of these secondary tags on. And now we should see that exhaust and absorb ability start to work. Nope. That's because I was not counting the secondary tags as well. So let's do that. What in the heck? Okay, return plus card data provider dot base card dot get secondary tags count. This is why we test things. Okay. Boom. Now it works. Excellent. Is that it? Is the ability done for now? So now we just got to write the description. If this item has 4 or more, this has to be or tags, keywords dot exhaust a random enemy item on combat start, exhaust a random enemy item and keywords dot absorb I have to do this now. Public static read only absorb keyword absorbed is equal to new I'm gonna have to update all the places in the code now where that broke, but that's okay. Keyword.absorb.absorbed. Okay. Keywords dot absorbed abilities are removed after combat. Okay. And this needs to be target tag count there. Goodness gracious. Okay. And we're going to make this one innate. And then put this here. Wow. That's quite a beefy ability right there. That's quite the beefy ability. Okay. Okay. Oops, did I not build the translations? Build the translations. Hey, absorbed is missing. Cool. Shapeshifter. Additional keywords is equal to keywords dot absorb. Cool. Now will it work? We are this close to having the ability finished. I do want to make some changes though. Innate passive is that if this item has 4 more tags, on combat start, exhaust a random enemy item and absorb its abilities. Absorbed abilities are removed when combat ends. Cool. How long is the stream? I just worked full shift and you're still here. Oh no, I took a break this afternoon. Only done like 4 hours of, well, maybe close to 5 hours of streaming today. But there was a good 3 hours in between. So no, I haven't been going all day, but 5 hours of streaming is quite a lot. Okay. So let me just try this again. Shapeshifter. Just want to make sure everything works. Okay, that absorbed, apply 1 bleed. Oh, look at that. Oh, it crit. It applied crit holy. Oh, I just realized I don't have any holy floating numbers. Holy does not have floating. Oh, I guess it's because... Right. Oh. It's because it's not a damage thing, it's a status. Maybe I should put like floating numbers for status applications too. And with the combat log, I can't see individual crits anymore, which is probably okay, but yeah, I don't know. Wait, why are both things exhausted? Oh. Oh. How did both things get exhausted? Wait a minute. Oh, that's not good. Did it happen after I brought up the combat log? Let's see. That's a little bit concerning. Yeah, when I bring up the combat log, oh. Okay, when I bring up a combat log, it's causing that ability to trigger again. It's not preserving the exhaust. Well, that's fine. I don't know why that's happening. I'm gonna have to track that down. Oh, it's always something. It's always something. Bringing up combat log causes exhaust to trigger again. I need to figure out what to do about passive absorbed abilities. Skip or update board state on combat start. What was the other thing that was a problem? Actually, I think it's probably okay. Dang. That's probably going to be a nasty bug to fix. But that's all right. We'll fix it. Okay. Last thing I want to do is add tag. So this ability is not really done yet. Who knows? I may spend another couple hours figuring these last things out, but you know, it's these kinds of abilities that stretch my ability system generally tend to reveal problems. So that's okay. I'll just have to fix the problems because I think, you know, I don't think it's worth like dodging an ability implementation just because it would maybe reveal some issues. I guess I have to balance it because like if something's going to take a day of effort just to support one ability, then I may not do it. But if it's just, oh, there are some latent bugs that are being revealed by this ability, then I probably should address that. So yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. But anyway, initial implementation of shapeshifter, absorb, and exhaust. But I'm actually glad that I found that combat log issue because I suspect that would be an issue for some other abilities in the game as well. It may be related to, I actually don't know. Maybe it's related to yeah, I mean, I have no idea, honestly. I'll have to figure that out. Don't forget to hydrate. I got water right here. It's almost out, actually. Infernal Midsection's Fire Belly's final form is achieved by streaming 8 hours straight and completing 10 cards in a day. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to complete as many cards as I can, but I keep running into these issues where it takes like a couple hours just to implement the abilities for an item. But, I mean, let me think. What did we do today? We did, We did the salt, we did the skeleton rogue, and we did the shapeshifter. So that's 3 items. That's not bad. I'm hoping that I can get these remaining issues fixed tonight and then maybe do 1 or 2 more items. But yeah, name of the game is try to do as many items as possible every day for this month. And then hopefully be close to like the end target of cards, items that I want. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a grind, but that's okay. It's a great exercise to wrangle and iron out your system. Should be a smoother ride after that. I hope so. The alternative is it'll just be constant wrangling until I'm done making items. That's the alternative. Trying to implement hard stuff, yeah. Yeah. And at some point, I may just be like, I'm going to stop pushing the envelope. I'm just going to stick to abilities that I'm pretty confident are just going to work. But anyway. That'll be it for the stream for today, though. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. You can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. Let me bring it up. I would appreciate a wishlist. You can also subscribe to the Patreon, become a YouTube member, all that good stuff. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, take care, everyone, and bye-bye for now.